Hello and welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. Today is a Saturday, that means it's a weekend. And if you're one of those people who are just tired of eating the same old foods that we've been eating since we're in lockdown, I have a very good surprise for you. Guess what we're making today? We're going to take some good old pasta, you know, the thing that comes in the bag with a little taste maker. We are going to take this and we are going to totally Indianize it, right? So you don't have to use it as to show you how to make a curry out of it so you can actually eat lunch or dinner. So if your kids are tired of eating this and they don't want to eat this anymore, you can use any kind of boxed pasta you have. Elbows are great. Penne rigate is great. Any kind of pasta that has ridges and grooves on it is really great. You can do this with that, okay? So also in this dish, we are going to need some frozen peas. This is absolutely right from my freezer. So this is about a cup and a half of this cup measure, okay? So that's a cup and a half of peas. We also have a very, very big beefsteak tomato that I've chopped up into big pieces. This is one potato, one Eastern potato cut into 12 pieces. We also need some oil and of course our standard spices. Now the thing to remember is if you're using pasta that's from one of these bags, we are not going to use this because these usually have like a cheesy base, or they have wheat, or they have cornstarch, and it tends to thicken up the curry a lot, and that's not a good taste. It all depends from brand to brand. So if you have something that you like the taste of, you like the texture of, you might want to add it all the way towards the end, okay? All right, so without any further ado, we are going to get started on this. Hi Ernestine, how are you today? Welcome to the show. I hope you're staying safe and staying indoors and not doing anything crazy, right? Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera so you guys can see exactly what is going on. Just bear with me as I get this right. Okay. Whatever I'm doing in the Instant Pot, you can actually totally do it on the stovetop. You can do it in a pressure cooker. You can do it in a saucepan. I'm just doing it because it's easier. The light is better here and it's easier for me to demonstrate what I'm doing. Okay, so a little bit of oil goes in. You can use any oil. You can use coconut oil, ghee, whatever your family prefers. And we're going to wait for it to get hot. Let me familiarize you with the spices that are going to go into this dish. We will be using some cumin seeds. Of course, our Himalayan pink salt. You can use regular salt. We will use some turmeric powder. And we will use some curry powder. Any brand of curry powder is fine. We will also use some paprika or cayenne pepper, whatever you have, and some coriander powder. So this is a really simple dish. If you want to put garlic, you can put garlic. If you want to put onions, you can put onions. Really depends on your personal preference. Okay, so this seems like it's nice and hot. We are going to go ahead and add the cumin seeds. So this is a classic North Indian way of making like a pea and potato curry. But then we've tweaked it a little bit, and instead of putting too many of the potatoes, we use pasta. So you can use any store-bought pasta. You can even use the gluten-free pasta, depending on whatever your family likes. You can add ginger, you can add garlic, but I'm showing you the simplest thing. Like if you had nothing and if you just had a tomato and a potato, what could you do? Okay, so we're gonna wait for the cumin seeds to sizzle a little bit. The first thing that's going to go in are these tomatoes. Now, if you don't have fresh tomatoes and you have a can of tomatoes, you can use that. If you have tomato puree, you can use that. But in this recipe, a combination of pureed tomatoes and fresh tomatoes works really well. I'm not using purees because I'm trying to finish whatever fresh produce I have first. Just going to put in all the liquid and everything from the tomatoes. Give it a quick stir and just give it a couple of seconds. Now, I've always said this in my videos, whenever you're cooking with tomatoes and you want them to draw out the moisture really quickly, you're going to add all the salt that needs to go in your dish. The complete quantity of salt can be added to the tomatoes to help to draw out the moisture. Give it a good stir. And you'll see that very quickly this is going to almost become like a paste sort of a consistency, and that's what we're going for. You just have to let it heat back up. We'll also add some turmeric at this point. Any curry powder of your preference, whatever you have. I'm using this brand called MDH and it's called Kitchen King. So I'm just using maybe a teaspoon of it. Paprika or cayenne pepper, whatever you prefer. And 1 big tablespoon of coriander powder. We are going to let all of this cook together till it becomes kind of soupy. If it helps to cover it a little bit, you can do that. Now we're going to jump back to our packet of pasta. You can even use boxed pasta. So you can see I've removed the taste maker, because a lot of times they're kind of have cheese, or they have wheat or gluten or cornstarch, and that's not desirable for your curry. So we're not going to use this. You can save it and use it for something else that your kids want to eat. Maybe you can put it in, I don't know, in their burgers, or you can put it on grilled vegetables. And this is, we're going to use an entire bag of pasta. So this is kind of like the twisted one, but if you have anything that has lines on it, that's got ridges on top, that's really good, because it'll help to absorb and hold on to the soupy gravy really well. Okay, so this is gonna take a few seconds. I'm gonna just quickly jump in and say hi to Sharad Mathur. Hi Shani, welcome to Queen's Curry Kitchen. Monica Aluwalia and Kalpana Taneja. Oh my god, so many people from India tuning in. Why are you guys still awake? It's a classic lockdown, no sleep, can't sleep anymore, too tired of, I need a vacation from a vacation. Is that one of those things, right? Yeah, I think so. Alright, so this is gonna keep going till it becomes nice and saucy. If you like a little heat in your curry, you can always add a dash of hot sauce, or you can add jalapenos, you can add serrano peppers, whatever you want. And this has really become the show that should be renamed Cook with Whatever You Got Curry Kitchen. Okay, so these are my peas. These are absolutely out of the freezer. I have not thawed them or anything. It's pretty much rock solid, and they're just sitting out. Once they get steamed in this pot or in your pressure cooker, wherever you're cooking, they're going to be completely cooked. So there's really no reason to soak them in hot water or boil them or do any of those shenanigans. I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes, because the moisture from the tomatoes can give a head start to our potatoes, and they can also absorb a little bit of the salt and get nice and seasoned all the way deep inside. Okay, so we do have to wait for the tomatoes to lose some of their moisture, and that's what's happening. So take the back of your spoon and break it down. If you have a blender and you want to blitz the tomatoes before putting it in here, you can do that as well. That's totally possible. I always say make it your own. Like, you don't have to be married to the way the recipe is taught. Just make it your own. If it works for you, edit the parts that work for you and your family, and throw out the parts that don't work. Like, let's say nobody in your family likes cumin seeds. You don't have to put them. Don't put them. If they like chocolate chips, put chocolate chips. No, don't do that. Okay, so you can see the tomatoes are pretty much breaking down, and now they're releasing a lot of moisture, and it's simmering and bubbling away. We're gonna let that happen for a few seconds. Keep stirring it so that it doesn't get stuck to the bottom of the pan. Whatever I'm doing here, you can do the same thing in a pressure cooker. You can do the same thing in a saucepan. And I try to do these live shows instead of doing edited videos, because my real purpose is to show you in real time that it's not that complicated to cook Indian food or to be creative with whatever pantry items you have. That's pretty much my goal. And so I try to do them in real time. And I know that sometimes people get impatient and they're like, oh, well, how long is this going to take? Well, it is going to take a few minutes. It's not a 2-minute Maggi thing, right? It's not a bowl of ramen that you just put boiled water and chubby. It really is not that. And it's not a sandwich that you can slap on some meats in between 2 slices of bread and eat it. Even though I consider this as one of the beginner recipes. So in most of my classes, this is the recipe that a lot of the beginners who are just trying to understand how to work with tomatoes and how to make a basic curry, they will learn this. So this is really like 0 skills required. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to learn how to cook this dish. Okay, so I hope you can see this is kind of like that pasty gravy that we were going for. There are still some tomato skins that are floating inside, and those are going to break down as the time goes. Now to this we are going to add the pasta. So also always add the carbs first so that they can soak up the salt and be really well seasoned. I'm going to add a little tad bit of an extra pinch of salt to allow for the pasta. Now let's say if you did not have peas at home, just make the dish like this with the potatoes and the pasta. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a carb-laden dish, but you know what? Once in a while, it's okay. A little extra carb doesn't hurt every now and then. Or you can do gluten-free pasta. You know, the kinds that they have, the chickpea pasta and whatnot they have right now. Okay, so as you keep stirring it, you'll see that the moisture will keep evaporating, and also a lot of it is going into the potatoes and a lot of it is going into the pasta. One quick suggestion, whenever you're making this, try to make it just before you're about to eat it, because no matter how liquid or how soupy or how much gravy you build in it, if you let this sit, all the pasta soaks up the moisture. So then you're left with something that's really gloppy and it's not al dente anymore, so you don't want to take that chance, okay? So all we've done is sauteed the tomatoes with some cumin seeds, added our seasonings, sauteed the potatoes, and now we have the pasta. Okay, at this stage you're ready to add the frozen peas. Hi Naina, how are you? I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for joining us. I'm thankful to God that you're well enough to join us on this live. How about that, right? Sometimes our health is the most neglected thing and we overlook how grateful we are just because we can see, hear, smell, taste, and sit up, walk around. So yes, I give thanks every day for all the people who are well in their homes, and I also pray to God every morning to send all the ailing people back home hale and hearty. That's my routine every single day, especially ever since I got sick. Okay, so now you can see pretty much all the moisture is kind of disappeared from it. It's really just almost dry and everything is coated onto whatever we put in the pot. So if you're doing it in an Instapot on a saute mode, this takes about 11 to 12 minutes. Okay. To this, we are going to add just enough liquid to deglaze everything, bring it together. And you see what a nice golden color this has? You can't beat that, right? I'm going to add just a little extra water because there's a lot of pasta in there and you need that. Okay, so just maybe half a cup more. And then around now you want to test for seasoning to see if it's salty enough. Yes, it is salty enough. If we feel like we need more, we can always go back and add more because the pasta is going to soak up a lot of water, so it's hard to tell. And depending on whether you're using kosher salt, Himalayan pink salt, or regular table salt, your taste will change. Okay, just before closing this, I'm going to add one last thing, and that's asafoetida. Again, if you have it, put it. If you don't have it, you can totally skip this. It really depends. Not everybody has it. But in most dishes that you're not using ginger or garlic, this adds a nice undertone of flavor. Okay, so that's about it. We're going to hit the cancel button on this. So if you were pressure cooking, you would at this point go ahead and close your pressure cooker. And then I'm gonna cook it on manual mode for about 6 minutes. That's gonna be my setting. And 6 minutes is ample time for the potatoes to tenderize. You don't want to overcook the pasta either. And that's what it's gonna do now. It's gonna hang in there for 6 minutes. It's gonna do its thing. And before we know it, it's going to be ready for us. Okay, so Nana says, I'm feeling much better and thank you for always being so sweet. Oh, you're so welcome. You know what? Ever since I got sick, I just feel like it should not happen to anybody. It was the most terrible 20 days of my life, and I do not wish that on anybody. And you're just my dear friend, so of course I don't wish that upon you. Okay, so anyway, it's time for my tea break, so I'm gonna go and have some tea. Then I have to run to the post office to ship out some orders right in time for Mother's Day. If you have placed any orders for the chocolate bark or the cakes, they will ship out most likely on Tuesday, but there is a back order on the chocolate supplies, so I will send you invoices. If you've ordered the spices, they're all in stock and they will be shipping promptly. If you haven't placed your orders for Mother's Day, www.queenscurrykitchen.com, and there's an order online, so you can shop online and you can order the book, you can order a class with your mom, you can order spices for your mom, or you can just cook for mom. Okay, all right, like always, I will see you again in another one very soon. So don't go crazy, don't do anything crazy, don't drive other people crazy. I know it's hard to stay put in one place, but breathe, smile, try to go to bed a little early, try to wake up a little early, and see me again tomorrow when I come back over here. Maybe we'll be cooking up something new, right? So thank you so much. I love you guys, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support. You have no idea that every penny that you're spending with us right now, it really matters. It really makes a big difference to what I have to do as a small business. So yes, thank you, and thank you. There is no better gift that I could ask for except for your love and support. So I am very thankful to you. I will see you again in the next one. Until then, namaste and take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.